Discovered. The heartwarming journey of a mail-order bride, transformed by a little girl's touch. Maria stepped off the bus, her heart racing with a mix of hope and fear. The sprawling fields of Maplewood, Illinois, looked nothing like the bustling city she had imagined. Instead, the endless corn stalks seemed to stretch out like a prison, surrounding her with reminders of her solitude. She had come to America, yearning for the promising glow of the American dream, but was met with the cold, hard reality of life on a weathered farmhouse. Inside, Tom, her husband, greeted her with a gruff nod and a distant gaze, as if she were merely a visitor and not the bride he had chosen from thousands of miles away. Days turned into weeks, and loneliness clung to Maria like a heavy coat. Tom's silence was deafening. His heart was locked away, guarded by memories of war that he would never share, leaving Maria to wander the shadows of their home. Emily, Tom's 16-year-old daughter, was like a stormy cloud in the sky, always angry and dismissive. No matter how hard Maria tried, the girl would lash out with words sharp enough to cut. Maria felt like an intruder, waiting for the warmth of a family that seemed to never arrive. It was on a particularly gray afternoon, as Maria stood shivering by the steaming kettle, when she met Lily. The little girl from next door burst into her life like a beam of sunshine. 8 years old and full of laughter, Lily ran over with twinkling eyes, offering her a cup of cocoa sprinkled with too much marshmallow fluff. "You're not sad anymore, right?" she asked innocently, and Maria couldn't help but chuckle through her tears. Their bond grew over shared cocoa and sweet giggles, igniting a flicker of hope in Maria's heart. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But just when it seemed like Maria's life was beginning to brighten, Tom's unresolved traumas darkened their home. An argument broke out one evening, revealing the deep-seated tensions between them, Tom's bitterness towards his past, and Emily's hurt from being abandoned. Words were thrown around like daggers, and their fragile bond felt ready to snap. Outside, smoke spiraled from the local factory, a looming threat for everyone in town facing loss. Everything felt precarious. As people rallied together, Maria found her voice amidst the chaos. No longer just a mail-order bride, she emerged as a voice of hope for her community, uniting neighbors with laughter and determination. Yet, as the flames of crisis flickered, Maria was faced with the harsh realization of what family truly meant. Standing at a crossroads illuminated by the glow of her emerging friendships, would she cling to this tumultuous kinship, or break free toward the unknown, seeking her own destiny? The quiet anguish of her choice hung heavy in the air, leaving Maria caught between what was familiar and the compelling urge to step into the light. As Maria wrestled with her choices, the days stretched on, blending into one another like the endless rows of corn outside her window. She could feel the weight of Tom's silence pressing down, a constant reminder that he was a man shaped by wounds she couldn't begin to understand. The sound of Emily's slamming door echoed almost daily, a furious punctuation mark on their strained family dynamic. It was exhausting. Then came that fateful Saturday when Lily bounced up onto the porch, her bright yellow dress swirling around her. "Maria, let us have a picnic," she exclaimed, her cheeks flushed with excitement. Maria smiled, the simple joy of the request washing over her like a soothing balm. Perhaps this was the moment to step outside the walls that had begun to confine her, to breathe in life again. They gathered sandwiches and cookies, and Maria even grabbed some of Tom's old blankets from the storage room. The journey to the nearby park was filled with Lily's stories about butterflies and the adventures she dreamed about. Maria laughed more genuinely than she had in weeks, the tightness in her chest easing a little with each moment spent with the child. They found a quiet spot beneath a sprawling oak tree. As they spread the blanket on the ground, Maria felt a bubble of excitement swell inside her. It was as if she had stepped into a new world, far removed from the heavy silence of her home. "Do you think you could teach me to bake, Maria?" Lily asked, her voice barely above a whisper as she looked up at the sky. Maria's heart clutched at the innocent plea. "Of course. I loved baking when I was little," she replied. It was a simple exchange, but for the first time it felt like she belonged somewhere. But just as they settled in, a shadow crossed their smiles. Emily arrived, the corners of her mouth turned down, eyes filled with resentment. "You think you can just take her away from me?" she snapped at Maria. It felt like a slap in the face, and for a moment, Maria's optimism wobbled. Lily looked between the two women, confusion etched on her young face. "I just wanted to have fun," she cried, her little voice wavering. "Fun? With her?" Emily's words were sharp, the disdain rolling off her tongue like poison. Maria felt the sting of it all. How could this teenager lash out at both her and the little girl? And why was her heart so heavy, carrying not just her pain but now this little one's, too? It was the turning point. In that moment, Maria would either crumble under Emily's anger or find her own footing. The echoes of the prior argument with Tom reverberated in her mind, a reminder of shared wounds and invisible scars. Taking a deep breath, Maria knelt down to Lily's level, brushing a strand of hair from the girl's face. "Hey, we can still have fun, right? Emily, why don't you join us?" Emily crossed her arms, but something flickered in her eyes, a hint of curiosity. Maria's heart raced, not with fear, but a newfound courage. The three of them could be stronger together. But as the day wore on, a storm brewed within Tom's heart. Unbeknownst to Maria, he had been watching from a distance, his own demons rising to the surface. The conflicting emotions fought within him like a raging tempest, and the whispers of the past began to unravel the fragile peace Maria had hoped to build as the sun dipped below the horizon. Casting elongated shadows around them, Maria could sense an impending confrontation. Would Tom open up, or would his silence continue to keep them apart? Her journey was just beginning. It was a quiet evening by the time they returned home, the air thick with unspoken words. Maria felt an ache settle in her chest, partly from fatigue and partly from the uncertainty swirling around Tom. The picnic had allowed her a moment of light, but the shadows were closing in once more. Lily had giggled and shared stories, and for those hours, it almost felt like everything could be all right. But as they entered the house, the tension from earlier was palpable. Tom was still seated at the dining table when Maria stepped in, the dim light casting deep shadows across his face. He looked up and their eyes met. For a fleeting moment, she thought she could see a flicker of the man she had once known, one full of warmth and laughter. But just as quickly, that spark faded, leaving only weariness and a distance she couldn't bridge. "Where were you?" he asked, his voice flat. It was neither angry nor curious, just a statement layered with disappointment. "A picnic," Maria replied softly, the memory of warmth fading with each word. "With Lily. Must be nice," he muttered, looking back down at his hands, fingers entwined like a struggling vine. His body language screamed of walls built high, fortified against the world outside and the family within. Maria hesitated, wrestling with a storm of emotions. She could feel the frustration bubbling just beneath the surface, clawing for release. "Tom, we need to talk. Things can't just stay this way," she ventured, hoping her voice would break through. But he merely shrugged, a gesture laced with indifference. "What is there to say? The past is the past. I don't think I can change it." His words were blunt, enough to send her heart plummeting. Maybe not change it, but at least acknowledge it? The words slipped out raw and reckless. She could hear the tremor in her voice, the rising tide of hurt spilling over. "I don't want to talk about this." Tom stood up abruptly, the chair scraping against the wooden floor like nails on a chalkboard. "You don't understand what it's like." "Then help me understand," she shot back, her patience fraying. "Don't push me away. I'm trying to bring us back together." For a moment, they stood still, both caught in a whirlwind of unresolved feelings, a mother who wanted nothing more than to protect her child, and a man fractured by his own demons. The silence hung heavily between them, thick as fog. Then, Just as she braced herself for the backlash, something shifted. The quiet of their home seemed to settle, and an unexpected voice broke through the tension. From the hallway, Lily appeared, clutching her favorite stuffed bear. "Is everything okay?" she asked, peering up at them with wide, innocent eyes. Maria felt her heart clench. Here was this small beacon of hope, unaware of the weight that had settled over her family. "It will be, sweet girl," Maria reassured, kneeling down to meet her at eye level. "We just need to talk. Okay?" But Tom's face hardened, frustration flaring. He shot Maria a sharp look. She could see he was grappling with his next words. "Lily, maybe you should know." Lily interrupted, her voice surprisingly strong for such a small child. "We can fix it. We can all be happy together." The intensity of her belief caught Maria off guard, and for a moment, it was as if they were looking at the same dilemma but through different lenses. "It's not just that easy, honey," Tom said, his voice softer now, the heat fading. But as they stood in the soft glow of the kitchen light, a miracle began to unfold in the space between them, a flicker of a possibility. If Lily could hold on to hope, then perhaps they could. As Tom looked at Lily, something in his expression shifted. Was it vulnerability? Regret? Maria could hardly bear the stillness. Her heart raced as she waited for something more. Would he finally open up? Would they find a way forward? Together? Or was this just another moment poised on the edge of falling apart? The evening was filled with a kind of charged silence, a moment that could either fracture or heal, and she wasn't sure which way the tide would turn. Tom took a deep breath, visibly wrestling with his emotions. For the first time in a long while, Maria saw a flicker of awareness in his eyes. It was as if he was stepping back from the fog that had enveloped him for so long, trying to gain some perspective. "Lily, why don't you go play in your room for a bit?" he suggested, his voice steadier, but the strain still lingered around the edges. She nodded, her little face a mix of hesitation and trust. Turning away, she gave her father a lingering look before retreating down the hallway, her soft footsteps fading into the distance. Maria watched her go, feeling a bittersweet tug. As much as Lily's innocence had brought joy, it had also drawn the reality of their situation into stark relief. "Tom," she began, the weight of unsaid words pressing heavily on her tongue. He folded his arms, a defensive posture that had become all too familiar. "I didn't want it to be like this." His voice cracked, a hint of vulnerability threading through. "I wanted to be the husband, the father, the man you deserve." She felt the lump in her throat grow larger. "Then let us talk about it. Whatever it is that's making you pull away, we can work through this together." He shook his head, frustration seeping through. "You don't know what I've been through, Maria. You can't imagine that pain." The pain reflected in his eyes felt like a mirror catching the light, revealing moments of his struggle, moments she hadn't been privy to. "I want to understand," she said earnestly. She stepped closer, testing the waters. "I'm here, Tom. I want to listen." He let out a bitter chuckle. "And what good would that do? It won't fix anything. Maybe not right away, but not talking is killing us slowly." Each word radiated honesty. "You're stuck in this cycle of pushing me away, and I need you to think about Lily. She deserves to have her dad in her life, not just when it's convenient for you." He flinched at the mention of their daughter. For a moment, she saw the walls begin to crack. "I'm scared," he admitted, almost in a whisper. "Scared that I'll hurt you both if I let my guard down." Maria's heart softened as she stepped even closer, reaching for his hand. "You won't. We're in this together. But you have to meet me halfway. We're a family, and we need each other." Tom looked down, his expression torn. "What if I can't fix this? What if it's too late?" "It's never too late," she whispered fiercely, determination fueling her words. "You taught me that love can conquer anything. We can find our way back if we fight for it." The silence returned, heavy with possibilities. Tom's gaze lingered on their intertwined hands, a moment of connection that felt electrifying. A faint flicker of hope sparked between them, so fragile yet so vital. Then, as if sensing the weight of the moment, Lily burst back into the room. her cheeks flushed with excitement. "Look what I found!" she exclaimed, holding up a drawing she'd done earlier that day, a colorful picture of their family, the sun shining brightly above them. Thomas' expression softened at the sight, and for the first time, a smile broke through the heaviness that had coated his face for weeks. "See?" Maria said, a swell of emotion rising within her. "This is us. We can shine together just like in her drawing." He bit his lip, struggling against the rush of feelings, desire battling despair. "But what if I can't be the light? Even the darkest night eventually gives way to dawn," she said softly, clutching his hand tighter. "Let us work together to find our way to it." As Tom looked into her eyes, searching for answers, a profound silence enveloped them. Maria could feel the intensity of his internal fight. Would he choose to join her on this journey, or remain lost in the shadows of his pain? In that moment, everything hung in the balance: their past, their present, and their future. She held her breath, heart racing, waiting for him to respond. But before he could say anything, a sudden noise from outside distracted them both. A low rumble of thunder echoed across the sky, dark clouds rolling in as if mirroring the turmoil in their hearts. "Looks like a storm is coming," Tom said quietly, his gaze shifting towards the window. Maria felt the tension wrap around her once more, a storm of their own brewing inside. Would they weather it together, or would the thunder split them apart again? The answer felt just out of reach, lurking like the dark clouds above, waiting for a sign that could either bring healing rain or a devastating downpour. Tom's eyes lingered on the darkening sky. The rumble of thunder seemed to echo the storm rising within him. He had stepped closer to Maria, but now fear gripped him tight, pulling him back into the shadows. "I can't be the man you want me to be," he whispered, his voice strained. "What if I fail?" "Failing is part of being human, Tom," Maria replied gently. "What matters is that we try together." She squeezed his hand tighter, willing him to see the hope she felt. The thunder rolled again, louder this time, and a flash of light illuminated the room. Lily appeared at the doorway, her small frame framed by the flicker of the storm. "Is it going to rain, Daddy?" Tom's gaze shifted to their daughter, her innocent question slicing through the heaviness. "Yeah, it looks like a big storm's coming." He tried to sound cheerful, but even he could hear the uncertainty in his voice. "Can we play in the rain?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Maria smiled at her daughter's unyielding spirit. "We can't play outside, sweetheart. It's not safe. But we can build a fort in the living room instead." Lily's face lit up. "Can I help?" "Of course," Maria replied, stepping away from Tom to engage their daughter. She felt a sense of relief, knowing that she had to keep focused on Lily's happiness for now. As they began gathering blankets and cushions from the couch, Tom watched, a mixture of emotions swirling inside him. Maria was so effortlessly nurturing, and here he was rooted in doubt. Suddenly, the flickering lights above them died, plunging the room into darkness. "Mommy! Daddy!" Lily's voice trembled slightly, both excited and scared. "It's okay, sweetie," Maria reassured her, kneeling to bring her daughter into her arms. "Just a little power outage. We'll be just fine." Tom's heart ached at hearing Maria's calm. He felt like a ship bobbing in choppy waters, barely staying afloat while he watched the lighthouse beam of her strength. "I'll go see if I can find some candles," he offered, his voice almost a whisper. "You don't have to," Maria replied softly, but he was already moving toward the kitchen, determined to contribute somehow. As he fumbled through drawers, he came across the old box of candles. He hesitated, memories flooding back, memories of happier times, when laughter filled their home. The thought of rekindling that warmth spurred him on, and soon he returned to the living room, candles flickering, casting dancing shadows on the walls. "Look, we have light," he said, placing the candles in a circle around them. The soft glow illuminated Maria's smile, and for a brief moment, everything felt right. Lily clapped her hands, excitement bubbling over. "A fort with lights," she squealed, rushing to grab the blankets. Maria joined in, her laughter rising high against the rumbling sky as they crafted a little sanctuary. Watching their daughter's joy slowly peeled back the layers of Tom's heart. With each stitch of fabric and every giggle, he felt the weight of despair begin to lift. And there, in the warmth of flickering candlelight, he caught Maria's eye. She looked hopeful, and he realized that even in their turmoil, they could still find moments of joy. "Can we really do this?" he asked, feeling the vulnerability of his question. "Do what?" She smiled, straightening up, her hair catching the light. "Make it work, be a family?" Maria's eyes sparkled as she stepped closer, wiping the dampness from her cheek where a tear had escaped. "We can, but it'll take time and understanding. This storm, it's a part of us now, but so is the sun that follows." Tom nodded, her words sinking in deep. He felt lighter somehow, like a part of himself had broken free from the chains of doubt. But just as the atmosphere shifted, the storm outside erupted. Winds howled, rattling the windows. "Mom! Daddy!" Lily cried, eyes wide, seeking comfort. "It's all right, sweetheart," Tom said, pulling her into his arms. "We're right here." He took a deep breath and remembered the flicker of hope from before. This was their chance to rebuild, to nurture their family through the storm. Yet the moment felt like standing on the edge of a cliff, looking down into the depths of uncertainty as thunder clapped anew. Drowning out the warmth within, fear crept back into Tom's heart. Could they really brave the storm together? In that moment, another flash of lightning tore through the sky, illuminating the room, revealing not just the flickering shadows, but also the truth of what lay before them. What would happen if the storm raged long enough to wash away everything they had fought for? Tom tightened his grip on Lily as the winds outside howled, echoing the turbulence within him. Maria knelt beside them, her presence a steadying force. "We're okay," she said, her voice a soft anchor amidst the chaos. But the reality pressed in around them, dark and looming. Tom felt a wave of anxiety sweep through him, tightening his chest. It wasn't just the storm outside. It was the tempest within. "What if it doesn't stop?" he murmured, half to himself. "We won't let it break us," Maria asserted, her eyes fiercely meeting his. There was a strength in her conviction that made Tom want to believe her. In that moment of vulnerability, he realized something significant. The three of them had been pulled together, a family creating their own cocoon amidst the raging storm. He looked down at Lily, who was blissfully unaware of the storm's full fury, her wide eyes sparkling in the candlelight. "Let us tell a story," Maria suggested, her voice brightening. "One with heroes and adventures and everything we love." "Okay," Lily exclaimed, bouncing in Tom's lap. "I want to be the brave princess." Tom chuckled, the sound almost foreign to his ears. "A brave princess needs a powerful dragon to fight. How about I be the dragon?" "Daddy, no. You have to save me." Lily laughed, the melody of her joy cutting through the weighty silence of the storm. "We'll need a knight too," Maria added, her gaze settling on Tom. "A knight who is a little unsure of himself but learns along the way." A faint smile tugged at Tom's lips as he played along. The idea struck a chord. Wasn't he the knight who felt lost, unsure of how to protect his family? Yet here they were, creating magic in the midst of chaos, and it felt right. "What adventures should we go on?" Lily asked, her gaze bright with excitement. Tom's mind, once clouded, began to clear. "We could journey to the land of rainbows," he declared with a newfound confidence, "where the skies are always blue and the candy grows on trees." Maria's laughter mingled with Lily's, ringing like chimes in the storm. They built their fortress with tales of bravery, laughter, and love, weaving narratives that stretched beyond their living room and into the very heart of what family meant. As the storm battered the windows, Tom noticed the magic happening not just in the tales they spun, but in the way Maria's and Lily's joy infused him with hope. He could feel the pieces of himself he had thought lost beginning to stitch back together. He leaned closer, his voice lowering. "I want to be a better father, a better husband." Maria nodded, as if she had always hoped for this moment. "We all want that, Tom. Takes time to heal." Outside, the winds howled louder, rattling the windows as if in protest. But inside, candles flickered softly, illuminating the love encasing them. Just then, another crack of thunder echoed through the house, more violent than before. The lights flickered and then plunged them back into darkness. "Mommy!" Lily squealed, clinging to Tom. "It's okay, Pumpkin," he soothed, his heart racing. "It's just the storm. Let South stay close." The familiar knot of panic twisted in Tom's stomach again, but he fought against it. He needed to be strong for Maria, for Lily. He wanted to show his children that even amidst chaos, there was a way through. Just when he thought the fear might swallow him whole, he felt Maria's hand on his. "Remember the stories, Tom. We'll find our way through this storm together." He took a deep breath, letting the warmth of her words wrap around him like the flickering light from the candles. But as another loud crash echoed outside, doubts crept back into Tom's mind. Was he truly capable of being the man they needed him to be? Could they weather this storm, both inside and out? The uncertainty loomed like a dark shadow over their fort, leaving Tom gripped by hope and apprehension. What if the storm brought change, or worse, took everything they were trying to rebuild? As the gusts outside howled and the storm raged, Tom felt his heart thump in time with the pounding rain. Would they emerge stronger and more united, or would the storm wash away their dreams for good? The darkness enveloped them, thick and heavy. The sound of rain pounding against the roof matched the rhythm of Tom's racing heart. He glanced at Lily. Her little body trembled slightly, but her eyes shone with a fierce spark of innocence. "Let us keep telling our story," Tom suggested, hoping to spark some joy in the moment of uncertainty. "Remember, even in the darkest times we can still find the light." "Yep." Lily piped up, her smile illuminating the shadows. "What happens next in the land of rainbows?" Tom took a deep breath, trying to quell the tension coiling in his chest. The brave princess and her knight bravely set off to find the magical fountain that grants wishes. "But they have to cross the stormy mountains first," he said, the words flowing more easily than expected. "Stormy mountains?" Maria echoed, raising an eyebrow playfully. "Isn't that where the dragon lives?" "Exactly," Tom exclaimed, thankful for her support. "But this dragon is friendly. He helps the heroes rather than fight against them." Lily giggled, her laughter spilling into the air like sunlight breaking through clouds. "Can I pet the dragon?" "Of course. He loves being petted," Tom replied. As they spun their tale, the thunder outside provided an ominous soundtrack. Just when it seemed like the storm might claim their storytelling too, Maria interjected, "But what if the dragon has something important to teach us?" Tom's heart swelled. "Right. The dragon could teach us about bravery, what it means to face our fears even when things seem scary." "I'm brave," Lily declared, puffing up her small chest, a determined look on her face. "I can be brave like the princess." "Yes, you can be brave, my little princess," Tom said, his voice thick with emotion. He marveled at her innocent courage, feeling a flicker of hope flicker to life in his chest. "Bravery isn't just about fighting, Maria added softly. "It's about standing together, even when it feels dark." As if she heard her mother's words, Lily nodded earnestly. "And I'll always stand with you. We're a team." Tom beamed at them both, realizing that their stories were more than just a distraction from the storm. They were a reflection of the family they were becoming, one built on trust, compassion, and an unyielding bond of love. Another crack of thunder boomed outside, momentarily dimming their joy. This time, it struck deeper and harder, shaking the walls. Tom felt his heart drop, a gut-wrenching fear paralyzing him for a brief second. "Mommy!" Lily cried again, apprehension seeping into her voice. "Shoo!" Tom whispered as he wrapped Lily tighter around, feeling her tiny heartbeat against his. "Look, remember our story? The brave princess and the dragon?" "Yes," Lily whispered, drawing strength from her father's words. "We can face the storm together. Just like our heroes," he said, his own resolve deepening. "We'll find our way through." Maria squeezed his hand reassuringly, her strength coursing through him. They joined together, a united front against the darkness and fear that threatened to pull them apart. But as they ventured deeper into their story, Tom couldn't shake the feeling tightening in his gut. This storm could change everything. Would they ride out the storm, emerging on the other side ready to claim their dreams? Or would the shadows slowly creep in, leaving them all alone? As the wind howled and rain battered their home, Tom realized the journey wasn't only about surviving the night, but also about embracing whatever came next. Tom's voice hung in the air as he continued their story, weaving the fate of his characters with the growing tension outside. As they approached the stormy mountains, the brave princess and her knight had to talk to the dragon, who guarded the sacred path. "Why does he guard it?" Lily asked, her curiosity a bright light amid the darkness. "Good question. The dragon guards the path because he wants to make sure only the brave and kind-hearted can get through," Tom explained, his mind racing. "He tests the heroes to see if they are truly worthy." "What kind of test?" Lily whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. Tom paused, the raindrops tapping against the window becoming like a heartbeat, urging him on. "The dragon might ask tough questions about bravery, friendship, and how to help others. Like asking if you would help someone even if it's scary?" Lily interjected, nodding sagely. "Exactly." Tom felt proud of her insight. And when the princess answers truthfully, she gains the dragon's trust. Then he helps them cross the mountains safely. "Yay! A dragon friend!" Lily cheered, her excitement cutting through the storm's growl momentarily. Outside, the winds picked up. The shadows in the corners seemed to deepen as they continued to tell their tale. It felt like the storm was listening, waiting, as if the world outside was connected to their lives within those four walls. Maria leaned closer, speaking softly. "Sometimes in life we face our own dragons. It's like facing our fears, right?" Tom nodded, the weight of her words resonating deeply. "Yes, we all have our storms to navigate. Just like the princess, we must find courage inside us." Lily's small hand gripped both of theirs tightly, the warmth a small buoy of comfort. "I'm not afraid, even if there's a scary dragon," she proclaimed, her innocent declaration ringing through the room. "Neither are we," Tom assured, looking deep into her bright eyes. In that moment, he understood something profound. It was in Lily's unwavering belief that they could conquer anything together, that hope truly lives. With a sudden clap of thunder, their story jolted to a pause. The air felt electric, a heavy energy swirling inside him. They were waiting. The storm was testing their resolve, just like the dragon in their tale. "Do you hear that?" Maria whispered, her voice barely above a whisper. "It sounds like the dragon is waking up." Tom took a deep breath, realizing that even within a children's story, the essence was about facing fears together. They drew closer to the dragon's cave. "What will happen next, do you think, Lily?" "They will be brave, just like us," she replied confidently. "Exactly," Tom said, a smile spreading across his face. Even as doubt crept back into his heart. But as they stepped inside, the dragon wouldn't be the only thing they confront. The real test would lie within the secrets they each carried. The howling wind outside seemed to echo his words, creating a haunting harmony that wrapped around them. And in that stormy night, as the rain lashed, Tom couldn't shake the thought that somewhere in their own lives, they had burdens they hadn't yet uncovered. Would they be strong enough to confront those just like the princess? The shadows flickered, dancing on the walls. Would they break through their own storm to find not just the answer, but their truest selves waiting in the light? Inside the dimly lit room, Tom felt the weight of his character's next steps pressing against him. The storm outside intensified, each gust of wind and rumble of thunder seeming to respond to their imagined journey. He took a deep breath before continuing. As the princess and her knight stepped into the cave, the air was thick with smoke and mystery. The dragon waited, his fiery eyes glimmering in the dim light. Lily pulled closer, eyes wide with excitement. "What did he say?" "They were about to find out," Tom replied, injecting urgency into his voice. The dragon let out a mighty roar that shook the walls. "Who dares approach my lair?" he bellowed. The princess, shaking but strong, stepped forward. "What did she say?" Lily asked, leaning back with curiosity. She said, I am here to seek the truth, brave dragon. We come with hearts full of courage. Will you test us? Tom watched as Maria's brow furrowed slightly, her hands clenching together. She seemed lost in thought, and he realized that the story was unraveling something deeper within her. The intensity of the storm matched the tension in the room. The dragon stared at her, his eyes piercing through her, as if searching for hidden thoughts. You believe you are brave, but bravery reveals itself in difficult moments, he challenged. Tell me, princess, what is the hardest thing you've ever faced? I know that answer, Lily declared, bouncing a little in her seat. It's when she has to leave her family behind to go on the adventure. Spot on, Lily, Tom said, smiling at her. The warmth from her young spirit felt like a small beacon in the growing darkness. Right, he continued. The princess, voice trembling, said, I had to leave my home, but I know it's for a greater purpose. I want others to find their happiness, even if it means I must sacrifice my own comfort. Maria exhaled softly, the words wrapping around them like a comforting blanket. That's a really brave thing to say, she murmured, her gaze lost in the shadows. Then the dragon nodded slowly, impressed. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the determination to move forward in spite of it, he said. Tom felt the weight of his character's revelation settle on him. Finally, the dragon offered his wisdom. To truly cross my mountains, you must not only know courage. You must also hold compassion in your heart for those you love. Lily's grip on their hands tightened, her eyes shining. What does that mean? It means that even when things get tough, we can't forget the people we care for, Maria said softly, her voice rising over the wind. Tom saw a flicker of understanding in Lily's eyes, and he knew she grasped the deeper meaning. Yes. The princess realized that her true strength lies in how she treats others. Like her knight, she learns to help others too. As he spoke, Tom felt a shift in the atmosphere around them. The room felt heavier, charged with unfulfilled dreams and untamed fears. So, as they continued into the dragoness domain, they weren't just challenging the dragon. They were getting ready to face the deepest parts of themselves. And the knight? Lily asked, her eyes wide. He had his own secrets to uncover, Tom said, his voice dropping to a whisper. What if he had fears that he had never shared? What if he didn't feel brave at all? The thunder rumbled again, a deep growl that matched the tension spiraling among them. Maria looked at Tom, a hint of resolve in her eyes. Are we brave enough to face our own storms, Tom? He met her gaze, feeling the weight of her question settle on them all. That's the big question, isn't it? And just like the dragon, we'll have to decide if we're willing to confront the truth. The wind howled louder, as if the storm was answering back. Would they find the courage to uncover their secrets just like the princess and her knight? Lily's small hand squeezed theirs tightly, and the room held its breath, waiting for what would happen next. The storm raged outside, but inside a different kind of thunder began to build in the hearts of Maria, Tom, and Lily. It was the storm of change, of confrontation, of doing what was necessary to break free from their pasts. The three of them huddled together in their improvised fort, the flicker of candles casting warm shadows on their faces. I feel like we're at the edge of something big, Maria whispered, a twinge of excitement lacing her voice. Just like the princess, we can choose to step into the unknown. It's where our new adventures begin. Tom nodded, clenching both Maria and Lily's hands tightly. He felt the weight of her words settle deep in his heart. The dragon, their fears, and the storm outside, these were their hurdles. But the potential for renewal nestled quietly beneath the chaos. Can we really do this? He asked, his voice uneasy yet filled with a spark of hope. Face our fears together? Yes, Lily chirped, her youthful enthusiasm lighting up the dim room. We're brave like the dragon and the princess. Tom couldn't help but smile at her unwavering spirit. It heartened him. Maybe together, as a family, they could confront their dragons, weather this storm, and come out stronger. Maria leaned closer, brushing her hand through Lily's hair. Even when the storm rages, we've got each other to lean on. You'll see, this is our time to break free. Tom lifted his head, meeting Maria's gaze. In that moment, something invisible shifted. It was as if they were all reaching into the darkness and finding light hidden away, just waiting for the chance to shine. "Let me tell you a secret," Tom began, a wave of vulnerability washing over him. "I've been scared for so long. Scared of failing as your husband and as a father. But what I keep forgetting is that it's okay to show that fear. Together we can share those burdens, right?" "Yes, Tom," Maria encouraged, her voice clear. "We can. Just like in our story, we need to face those shadows together." The storm outside roared, and as the wind rattled the walls, Tom felt a surge of determination. "Just like the princess, I have my own struggles, but I can be better. I can start by being honest." "Me too," Maria added, her voice steady. "I haven't been whole either, and I think it's time to share everything, my doubts, my dreams, and all the love I have for you both." "Yes," Lily shouted, clapping her small hands together, catching their raw, vulnerable energy and turning it into pure joy. "Let us be brave, like the heroes in our story." Tom took a deep breath, the fear beginning to lift. "Let us fight our dragons. It's time we unlocked the doors to our past, faced them head on, and learned what they have to teach us." With a shared understanding, the three of them released their grip but held on to the unspoken pact. They felt lighter somehow, buoyed by their collective courage. The storm outside may have been unforgiving, but here, within the walls of their little fort, was a safe haven filled with warmth and love. And just like that, they began to share their stories, the weight of fears lifting as they spoke. They opened up about their hopes, facing the darkness of the past while emerging into the flickering light of their family bond. As they talked, the raging storm outside transformed, softening into a gentle rain, washing away their doubts. Hours passed, and before they knew it, the skies opened up, revealing a golden glow peeking through the clouds. Suddenly, a beautiful rainbow arched across the sky, a promise. A sign. "There it is," Lily squealed, pointing excitedly. "Look, Mommy, Daddy, our rainbow." Tom and Maria dived into her embrace, each holding a piece of that joy together. In that moment, the barriers of silence were shattered, and they could even picture themselves standing together, a family set free from fear, ready to embrace the beauty of whatever life threw their way. "Now," Tom said, smiling, "let us make a new story. One that's filled with laughter, kindness, and bravery." And with that, they began to map out their future, their voices intertwining like a tapestry woven with threads of love, forgiveness, and newfound resilience. And no matter what storms lay ahead, they had each other, and that made all the difference. Now's your chance. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support matters. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. I want to hear your thoughts. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let's spread the hope and courage.